Hey, Spike here again, and once again we're going to do some more sample boards. Now I've already shown you shellac, I've showed you lacquer, which by the way I did work on the other sample board that I said that I would do another coat on, and this time I did the steel wool by hand, and it actually came out pretty good. So took a little extra work, but it ultimately came through. But today we're going to do another type of coat, and this is polyurethane. Now this comes out as one of the best finishes out there. Now of course there is a downside to it in that this one takes a long time to finish. But each coat takes about 3 to 4 hours to cure, and if you're working on a big project, something like that could last about a week if the project is large enough. But I don't expect to go a whole week with this. So what I got here, I got just a small can of polyurethane, and this is clear gloss. I'm going to go back to the gloss because I like that one. Now the instruction says do not shake. It says, in fact, it says never shake. I don't know if you can see that. Yep, you can see right there, never shake. So I've already sanded down the board here. We're still on our domestic boards: poplar, oak, whitewood, and red elm. So the first thing we need to do is to remove any sanding dust from it. Now it didn't say anything on there, unlike the lacquer, about using mineral spirits, but I'm going to do it anyway. Now I got my organic vapor filter on my respirator because this is going to get a little smelly here, as this does have an oily smell to it. And also you want to do the same thing with the polyurethane. The contents, if you are in there long enough, it's very harmful, so you do want the filters, the organic filters. So first thing I need to do, well, I already got my shop cloth here. And by the way, I'm working on another exotic sample board. So the mineral spirits, like I said, I'm going to pop this open with a screwdriver. I'm going to put my respirator on, and we'll wipe down the whole board. I don't know if you can hear me. Let's see, oh yeah, I have my back strap on. So just like before, we're going to wipe down this whole board and wait for it to dry. Before I do that, I should put on my gloves. I'll be right back. Okay, I got my glove on because this is an irritant to the skin. Alright, so I'm going to actually hold the can with my bare hand and use the shop cloth with my gloved hand. Alright, so as before, again, I'm hoping you guys hear me. Pour some mineral spirits on the cloth. And just like before, we're going to wipe the whole thing down, and you will see you'll see all the dust come off of it. And make sure to go across the grain, along the grain, make sure that those mineral spirits are on all sides of the wood. Okay, so now we have cleaned up all the dust from it, and surprisingly not that much dust, but the most important thing is to get all the microscopic ones out of there, ones that the vacuum can't get up. So I'll wipe this down one more time just to make sure. Okay, I think that should do it. Now we're going to let it set for a little bit, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, so we've given it a few minutes to dry, and it does feel dry to the touch, so we can move on to the next step, which is to apply the polyurethane. Now, like I said, the fumes are hazardous, so use a respirator for this part. Now, of course, you still want to get your mineral spirits ready, and I'll explain why in just a few minutes. But of course, as I always do, use a foam brush. All right, let me put my respirator on before I open this up. Once again, hope you guys can hear me. So, as before, I'm going to open this up with the screwdriver. By the way, this is an 8-ounce can. It's going to look like a varnish when you open this up. Now, my foam brush is a little big for them, but I'm going to try it anyway. Try to apply it to both sides. Alright, now we're going to do this all in one stroke, starting from the top and move it on down. Once again from the top, all the way down. And we're going to continue this process until we cover the whole board and make sure to make overlapping strokes over the previous one. We will do it once again. Yeah, it's pretty much the only thing you really need to do. Just make sure it overlaps one another. I believe we can do this one in one go. Let's see. Okay, so now the whole board has now got its first coat. Now before I close this up, now, of course, it's going to take about 3 to 4 hours to dry, so if you want to save that brush for the next one, we got to make sure that that polyurethane is off of that brush. So what we're going to do is take a shot cloth, and we're going to once again open our mineral spirits. Now, what I like to do, take some mineral spirits. Now, you don't have to soak the whole thing, but just enough to cover quite a bit of the cloth. Then we're going to take the brush. Let's see if I can squeeze as much of that off the brush as I can. And then we're going to put it in our mineral spirits and then wrap it up. Like so. So this will make sure that those that polyurethane does not stick to that brush for the next time we use it. Of course, it's going to smell like oil in here for a little while. So make sure that this place is ventilated. But of course this is about getting close to 9 o'clock at night, so I'm close enough to stop anyway for the night, so we're going to close up this polyurethane. Got to be really careful because it's taking light taps on there because the thing was spraying stuff around. Alright, so that is pretty much it just for tonight. So like I said, it dries for about 3 to 4 hours. But like I said, since it's 9 o'clock right now, I'm just going to wait till morning. We'll come back tomorrow and see how it looks. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Well, here we are again, just about nearly, I'd say, 14, 15 hours later. So this coat should be dry now. I'm going to put my gloves on. And it is going to feel a little tacky at first, but it is dry, so we will go to the next step, which is to sand it down with 220 grit. I'm just putting my gloves on in preparation for the second coating, but you don't need to do that for the sanding, though I would highly recommend a respirator. I'm going to go ahead and put that on. And of course, don't forget hearing protection. Okay, it has been sanded down, but now we have to put on the second coat. So we're going to repeat the same process. We'll open up our polyurethane. Right, then we're going to take the brush which we had in mineral spirits the other night, and we're going to soak that in the polyurethane. Once again, we're just repeating the same technique that we did before. And there is our second coat. Alright, so now same thing, we're going to let that sit and put this in our mineral spirits, clean this up, and we'll come back in another 4 hours. Well, several hours later, I already have my respirator on because it really smells of polyurethane in here. But we're going to repeat the same process, sand this down, and then we'll put down our third and possibly final coat. But let's get this thing sanded down first. Alright, sanding is done, and now we will put on our third coat. All right, there is our third coat, and we'll let this one sit. Well, I have to say I'm happy with how this turned out. You can see the gloss on the whole board, but of course we're not finished yet. Especially, this is the best I've seen the poplar so far. But of course we're not finished yet. This still needs some more sanding, so we're going to go to our 220 grit one more time, and we'll give it that bit of buffing out. Okay. Now, just so you know, there is still some imperfections on the oak, as you can probably see, but that's because of the board itself, not really because of a mistake. But we're going to go on to the final steps, which is its last bit of polishing. And if you remember the last time we've gone to this step, I used little balls of steel wool. Well, seeing how messy that was, I actually got a better solution to that, and that is rubbing pads. So these definitely work much better than those little things. So this is a 3/0 rubbing pad. So we're going to start off with that, and then we go to the 4/0, the highest it goes with the super fine grit. So and this time we took the sanding pad off of it, of the sander, and we're just going to place it on top of this and move this thing around. And look at that. And yeah, this is definitely as smooth as you can get with using those polishing pads I just put on here. And yeah, like I said, I think the oak could have been better because there's still some imperfections on it, but that was how it was when I put it through the planer. So I think it's more of the oak itself than the application, because everything else looks really good. So overall, happy with this. Like I said, I could redo the oak in the future, but for now I'm happy with this. Now, while we're at this, now I still have that other board, that the domestic board I've used for the lacquer. I'm going to use that with these polishing pads and see if that makes a huge difference. Now, I already know that I've put labels on there, but I'm just going to do this just to see what happens. So I'm going to put my respirator back on, and we're going to see if this makes a big difference compared to the other seal wool that I've used in the other video. Yeah, honestly, I think I can say that using the rubbing pads instead of the steel wool balls is much better, because I can see good and flat, smooth surface. It's still got the finish on there. and still has that semi-gloss look to it. Like I said, I want to do one that is full gloss with the lacquer, but I can say that just looking at the video feed on the camera, I think this is a really a good way to use lacquer. So as an edit, so as a correction to the previous video on the lacquer video, use rubbing pads, not the steel wool balls. Those should only be used for hand work. And I tried that in the previous video, thinking that it would work on the sander, but all it really does is cause a mess. So use rubbing pads over the steel wool balls. Okay, so I'm overall very successful use of the polyurethane, and like I said, we'll do more finishes in the future, but I think in the next video we'll go into something that I've been looking forward to for quite a while. But for now, that is it. I'll see you guys later.